Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host, Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit Aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com. And use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Ciocca Corvettes. If you're a Corvette enthusiast, and I know you are since you're listening and watching Corvette Today, then you need to know about Ciocca Corvette. They're based in Atlantic City, where you can find over 100 new and pre-owned Vettes on the lot and inbound. Ciocca also ships Corvettes all over the country, custom ordered to your specifications. They're staffed with experienced pros who can answer all your questions. So don't compromise. Visit CioccaCorvette.com. That's CIOCCA Corvette.com and find out more. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. E5 Wheels. E5 Wheels is a passionate and dedicated wheel company that serves only Corvette. They make spun-forged wheels for your C8, C7, and C6 Corvette. With the best fitment in the industry, E5 Wheels ensures your wheels complement the aesthetics and functionality while optimizing the performance of your Corvette. Visit e5wheels.com or call them at 305-964-7429. And a shout out to Canadian Corvette Forum and Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. All right, everybody, time to bring you up to date on the latest Corvette news and headlines with my pal Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Keith is with me every other week, and together we keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Keith, welcome back to the show. Happy Thanksgiving week, buddy. Can't believe Thanksgiving's already here.
I know, Steve. It's just come up on us so fast. And then, of course, we got the other holidays coming in just a month away. And then the new year. 2024 is headed out the door here pretty quickly. But hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving. I know we certainly are. And my wife's like, "What do you want to do for Thanksgiving?" I said, "It doesn't matter as long as I can drive my new Corvette."
There you go. I like it, buddy. That Hysteria Purple E-Ray is just waiting for you. I hear it calling all the way from over here in Kansas City.
Well, that's my daily startups I'm doing on it.
Nice. Well, buddy, let's start the show like we always do, and let's get a Corvette production update from the Bowling Green assembly plant.
Absolutely. So, of course, we watched the VIN counts coming from Roger Keel's spreadsheet on Facebook. And while we're still building a lot of Stingrays, one of the things we've noticed over many days, over the couple weeks, is that we've actually seen the combined wide-body C8s outproducing Stingrays about equal to or surpassing the Stingrays.
Huh.
That's pretty cool, I think. And I think that's exactly what Chevy had in mind back in the day when they started rolling out these different models. So the E-Ray production has actually kicked up into a higher gear. It's not the highest gear, but to provide some examples, I just went back and wrote down the daily quantities built over the last week. So those numbers are 24, 33, 26, 25, 26, 21, 37. It's just very strong. It's not like we've had the days before where you see some single digits. They're all in that 20 or low 30 number. I think that's been pretty good.
Yeah.
As of last week, we had a total of 5,750 Stingrays, 2,030 Z06s, and 579 E-Rays for a total of 8,358 Corvettes produced so far for 2025. Some good stuff happening there. Of course, we do like to see the higher models going out because Chevy's making money off of those. I know there's some wait lists still on those Z06s and the E-Rays as well.
Right.
There's also some discounts happening depending on who gets those allocations. It's not like before where, oh yeah, we'd see these cars being produced, but everybody's freaking out about pricing and stuff like that. There's really been a realignment in the marketplace. And so we'll talk a lot about that coming up, but good stuff happening so far for the 2025 model year.
We're off to a good start for 2025, that's for sure. Also, Bowling Green Assembly is making some plans for Christmas and New Year's production too.
Yeah, so workers at the Corvette assembly plant will have an extended holiday break. We learned this from our friends over at the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum, that there will be 3 weeks of vacation time. Actually, they're going to start that vacation after Friday's shift on December 13th, and then workers will return on Monday, January 6th. Normally, we've seen workers get 1 week off or 2 weeks off around the holidays. Of course, it was a lot different when there was a lot more demand for the car and people were really working through that. But this 3-week closure kind of makes us wonder if there's a little bit more to the story. Of course, our belief is that this extra week of closure is directly attributable to some of the excess numbers of the C8 Stingrays that we've seen piling up on dealer lots across the country. And then perhaps this extended holiday will allow dealers to sell off some of that excess on those in-stock C8s. Every little bit helps. Of course, like I said, the production numbers, we've seen C8 numbers kind of come down just a little bit, and then the combined wide bodies are actually doing very well. So it could just be part of that. They're kind of moving some stuff around. And of course, the holiday gives it a little bit of time to take a pause on all production, kind of let the market hopefully pick up some of that slack over those 3 weeks.
Yeah, that sounds good. And it's probably right, too. Also, we did get allocations and constraints for the November order cycle. What do those look like?
Yeah, so we're just wrapping up the order cycle this week, and we have some interesting things happening. We never get a full look at what Chevy's up to when they allocate these numbers to dealers, but we do talk to several ones, big dealers, small dealers, and one of the things that we kind of learned for November is that the Stingray numbers were slightly down while E-Ray allocations were up. Again, that directly goes back to the production numbers that we saw. As far as constraints go, one of the big stories is we had 0 constraints on the Stingray for November. I can't remember the last time we saw that. We always had something going on there. Of course, that means the Q9i gloss black wheels are fully available.
Good.
And there's no splits either in production for either the 1LTs or the Z51s versus the non-Z51s either. That's really great news there. Hopefully they can keep that up. Of course, they're building less Stingrays, so that's one of the stories, and dealers are getting some less Stingrays. So for ordering, that just might be a wash there. For E-Ray, the constraints are just a carbon fiber front splitter, either invisible carbon fiber or carbon flash. And then the Z06, we have availabilities for Z06 aero and ground effects, while the painted spire wheels in black are also being limited, but they're available in a lot of quantities. It looks like things are actually boding well for November order cycle. And then one of the also things that we learned is that Chevy, they only did 1 order cycle in November, and they're going to continue that by doing 1 round of orders in December and then another round of orders in January. Looking ahead to February is where things might get interesting because that's the rumor of when we're expecting ZR1 to start production. Of course, that rumor comes from Chevy itself. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. But good things happening on the allocation and constraint front, and hopefully they can continue to keep those high options off that list for sure.
That sounds good, Keith. Let's talk about some of the accolades that we've gotten. The C8 ZR1 was Top Gear's best performance car of 2024, and it hasn't even come out yet.
I know, it does seem a bit premature to be giving awards to a car that isn't officially begun production yet.
Right.
But this award actually comes from the readers of Top Gear, who selected the ZR1 as 2024's best performance car. And in fact, I got a quote here from what one of the Top Gear readers said about the ZR1. He says, "V8 Thunder, not a drop of EV nonsense and over 1,000 horsepower. It's hypercar fast at 233 miles per hour. And if you decide if you want to spec it with or without that goofy aero package, unlike the previous gen, you can do that. There's no limited production or guest list requirement either, so Chevrolet can build as many as people want. It doesn't get any better than that, especially in 2024. Being that they're not making them yet, that's still great news for the Corvette team on the ZR1's first award. And like I said, I'm sure there's going to be many more to follow that one.
Wait, hold it. Goofy aero package. I love the big wing.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. Some people like the wings and some people are like, whoa, that's too much. I don't need a park bench on the back of my car.
In Texas, they say go big or go home. In Corvette world, I say go big wing or go home. That's what
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Chevy finished really strong in the J.D. Power 2024 Satisfaction Index, which I was really excited to see.
Yeah, so this is a study that looks at brand satisfaction as well. J.D. Power sampled nearly 35,000 customers to determine their satisfaction with their sales experience this year and how it relates to the brand. So GM actually had 3 brands among the top 6 in the study. Buick was second, GMC was 5th, and then Chevrolet came in 6th place. Part of the satisfaction comes from the fact that dealers do have more inventory and more customers are actually paying closer to MSRP than over, as we saw previously. I think in 2023, that number was almost like 23% over MSRP, but last year it was only about 8% over. So yeah, you'd be much more satisfied if you're paying less money at the dealership anyways. And of course, Chevrolet's making some great cars, not just the Corvette. Some good stuff happening there, and just got to keep up with production, but not too much, because obviously any customer that pays MSRP or even gets a discount is going to feel like they were successful in their car buying experience.
Definitely. And also, GM really wants us to follow the maintenance schedule for our C8 transmission. This is funny when I saw it, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah, because there still seems to be some confusion among owners of C8s about this transmission maintenance schedule, what they entail, and how they might apply to earlier C8s versus newer models, because there was a couple changes in that transmission. We know the big one came right before the 2024, so it's mostly focused on the 2024, but there are some 2023s that kind of fall into it. This maintenance schedule is really important to follow, as GM will reject warranty claims on transmissions if this criteria isn't met. And so what they've done is they actually sent out a letter this week to C8 Corvette owners saying that this is the maintenance schedule for the DCT transmission. The key point to remember is that GM wants to see all transmission oil filters replaced between 7,000 and 8,000 miles. The owner's manual actually states 7,500 miles, but GM gives us a leeway of 500 miles before and after that mark. The next change comes at 22,500 miles, and then every additional 22,005 miles afterwards. If you've had your transmission filter replaced prior to 7,500 miles, it still needs to be done again between 7,000 and 8,000 miles, no matter what. That's the Bible. That's what you got to go with. And finally, GM reminds us that even if you had your transmission replaced, you need to follow these guidelines so that the filter is replaced at 7,500 miles from when you receive that replacement. That's the big thing. And again, GM, we've heard somebody bought a used car and the previous owner didn't follow the guidelines correctly, and then actually GM rejected that warranty claim when something did happen to his transmission. And we're hearing transmissions, new ones cost around $20,000, so it could be a big expense for somebody. The other thing about this story is that we believe that some of this confusion also comes with the transmission service is the question of who pays for it, because GM initially promised to cover that during that, quote, first maintenance visit. However, it's changed somewhat over the years just because motor oil needs to be changed every 12 months or 7,500 miles, but the transmission filters just every 7,500 miles. So people were getting their motor oil changed, but not that changed. And so there's, when do I do this again and all that stuff. Again, GM clarified this with the 2024 Corvettes that they will cover the cost of the transmission filter if it's within 3 years of when you put your car into service. And of course, you need to be at that 7,000 miles. If you want to change your filter prior to 7,000 miles, you can, but you're the one that's going to pay for it. It's your responsibility. And then if it takes you more than 3 years to reach 7,000 miles, it's also your responsibility for the replacement of that transmission filter. No matter who pays for it, just make sure that you get your car into service between 7,000 and 8,000 miles so that that transmission filter change is documented on your Corvette service history. That's the biggest thing that you want. And I think that if you just kind of think about that and kind of forget about who's paying for it, just focus on that 7,000, 8,000 miles, you should be fine.
That sounds good. All right, buddy, time for our first break. When we come back, we've got Corvette Racing and Corvette Rumors on deck here on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome, with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The National Corvette Restorer Society is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. 50 years of affirming and promoting the preservation and restoration of the Corvette. 50 years as the foremost Corvette collector car organization for building value with its prestigious awards. Have you ever considered joining NCRS? Over 70,000 people have. We're so much more than just the nuts and bolts. The NCRS flight judging program can and often does increase the value of America's sports car by researching and publishing the leading tech manuals and judging guides for the 1953 through 2007 Corvettes, by training the best judges and by hosting local, regional, and national judging events. And when you join, you'll get award-winning magazines like Corvette Restore and Driveline all throughout the year. Joining is simple and easy. Just go to ncrs.org and sign up. There are NCRS chapters all throughout the U.S. and all around the world. Chances are there's a local chapter near you. So join NCRS today at ncrs.org. We come for the Corvettes. We stay for the friendships made along the way.
Rev up your ride with the ultimate upgrade. The Radiator Grill Store is your go-to destination for top-notch C8 Corvette Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray accessories. Elevate your style with custom-painted engine bay covers, sleek front splitters, and side skirts that scream sophistication. Keep your C8 protected with premium Radiator Grill screens. Stand out from the crowd at car shows and beyond. Use code CT10 for an exclusive 10% discount off your total purchase at radiatorgrillstore.com. Don't miss out on turning heads. Upgrade your Corvette today.
For the best in CB Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray aftermarket carbon fiber replacement components and body kits, check out RacingSportConcepts.com or call 1-800-815-3751. Tell them Steve sent you to save 10% with coupon code Corvette Today.
And now, back to Corvette Today with your host and my husband, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Make sure you take advantage of Wheelcraft's holiday special now through December 31st. Purchase a $200 gift certificate for only $100. And you can also use the Corvette Today promo code CT50 and get an extra $50 off your total purchase at Wheelcraft. So visit wheelcraft.com or give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger. We keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car every other week. In segment number 2, we always cover Corvette Racing and Corvette Rumors. Keith, let's start with racing first. It looks like we have a new team coming to Corvette Racing next year, don't we?
Yeah, this is interesting. So this is a British racing team named Stellar Motorsports, and they are the latest to add the new Corvette Z06 GT3R to their racing stable. And they're actually looking at GT3 racing programs to participate over in Europe and in Britain, including the British GT, as well as the European Le Mans Series. They might race in the Michelin Le Mans Cup or the GT World Challenge Europe Series. They're actually expected to receive 2 Corvettes in January. They have yet to announce any drivers, but again, more Corvettes to see on the track is always very exciting. We're starting to fill in some of the gaps of some of the racing series that the Corvettes currently are not racing in. So more Corvettes out there to root for.
Also, our pals at DXDT Racing have announced their drivers for IMSA's Michelin Endurance Series next year.
Yeah, that's right. So they're taking one of their Z06 GT3Rs and adding it to the IMSA GTD class in January. They announced their lineup for the 5 Michelin Endurance Cup races for 2025. They include Corvette racing drivers Charlie Eastwood and Alec Udell, and also will be welcoming newcomer Sila Ulik, who is Turkish, I believe.
Wow.
And they have a 4th driver still yet to be announced here. I actually had lunch with Wes Wong. He was down in Tampa about 2 weeks ago. Wes Wong is one of the ambassadors for the Corvette Racing team. And of course, he was a board member at the NCM. As we were talking, I didn't know this, but the DXDT Racing team is actually managed by Tommy Milner's sister.
Wow.
And now that all makes sense as to how they got Tommy to drive in the GT World Challenge America this summer. Miller and Udell finished second in points in 2024 after winning 8 straight races during the season, but they missed the first 2 races, and that was just enough to give whoever came in first. Tommy Milner comes from a racing family, and I always wondered if he had a brother or sister out there that was doing something. And of course, we find out that that is the case. Expecting some good things for DXDT Racing. They're actually the most successful Corvette Z6 GT3R program that's out there. And of course, they're going to be competing against AWA Racing, which is also running a single Z6 GT3R in GTD. So again, more Corvettes to root for. Now we'll have some Corvettes fighting against each other for that same podium. That's always makes things a little bit more interesting, I think.
Very cool. Also, we always like Nürburgring times. That seems to be the watermark for every car. Sport Auto from Germany has revealed the C8 Z6 Nürburgring time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we knew they had it over there, and then we were just waiting for the magazine to come out, which generally takes, 6 to 8 weeks or so. Sport Auto is a German automotive magazine, and they regularly run cars at the Nürburgring as part of their On the Ring series. They actually tested a U.S. spec Corvette Z06. It had the Z07 performance package, and their ring time for that car was officially 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Of course, Corvette fans were really hoping for a sub 7-minute run, and so we actually did see some hand-wringing over that time in the Corvette Nation, and we get it. We understand. People were really hoping that this would be the one to break that sub 7-minute barrier. The magazine says that they believe the reason why the Z06 wasn't faster is due to a longer 5th gear, and they said it missed out on hitting those top speed areas on the circuit. What I think is interesting is that they were actually shown an unpublished video by Corvette team driver Aaron Link showing Chevy drivers also running 710 at the Nürburgring. Okay. So we're not exactly sure why the Z06 wasn't faster, if it was due to that longer 5th gear, or if it was maybe some software or something else that was limiting it. The thing that I got in the back of my mind is, the Z06 is a track-focused car in the C8 lineup, but it's really developed to run on the streets. It's really a street car, and so maybe there are some concessions of that, not a dedicated track car like a Porsche GT3.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to have to wait for the ZR1's time to see if we can finally get an American sports car to break that 7-minute barrier at the Nürburgring. Really was hoping, though, it'd be the Z06. This was a driver that wasn't really familiar with the car, although Aaron Link is probably the most familiar with it, especially the most familiar with it on the Nürburgring. Chevy drivers are doing 710, and then they can bring in a magazine and also do 710. Obviously, that's pretty good for the magazine, but I know we want to see faster times.
Faster times would be good, especially under 7 minutes, that's for sure. In the rumors category, Keith, we thought we saw 5 identical Z06 hardtop convertibles being built and then sent to Detroit. What's going on with that?
This is one of my favorite stories over the last 2 weeks because it's just makes you kind of wonder. The things that make you go, right? So a reader at the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum was reviewing some of the data at C8tracker.com, window stickers, and you can see all the cars being built. He actually found that once they started building the Sebring Metallics, Chevrolet had 5 identical Corvette Z06 convertibles built, and they were all shipped to Warren, Michigan at their location there. Our thinking is that maybe this is a new special edition that Chevy's working on. All these Z06s were convertibles. They were well optioned with Sebring orange metallic, and they all had habanero interiors. All 5 were optioned exactly the same way with a $183,000 price tag. Each of these 5 cars had $49,340 in optional equipment on them.
Wow.
I pulled up one of the window stickers. Actually, I pulled up all 5 window stickers, all exactly the same. They're optioned Z07 performance package, visible carbon fiber air, visible carbon fiber wheels with the orange brake calipers, carbon flash nacelles and roof, front lift, engine appearance package, and black exhaust tips. Inside, of course, we had GT2 seats in habanero, and they all had the level 2 carbon fiber inside with stealth interior as well. One of our dealer friends tells us that actually these cars were ordered as part of the product evaluation program or special events, which means either they're going out to different events or auto shows, or they can go into product evaluation program, which is for senior level GM managers to drive and evaluate these cars. My feeling is when they do that with the driver evaluations, I know they tend to order different cars in different configurations. The fact that there's 5 with all same similar options makes me really think that these are special editions, or maybe they'll end up on a show circuit somewhere. As soon as I saw habanero. I thought somebody's going to turn this into a special edition. Maybe that's what we're seeing here. We'll just have to wait and see. And then the other thing with this, I have not verified this, but I did have a reader send me an email a couple days after we set this post up. Actually, he thought there were 7 cars. There might be a additional in that C8 tracker that we missed.
Oh,
pretty interesting. With that many options, $49,000 in optional equipment, that's $250,000 for just these 5 cars.
Yeah.
For executives just to drive around in. I think there's a different purpose here, and I can't wait to find out what it is.
Well, I like the spec. If they need someone to drive, give me a call. Shoot.
I mean, that's right up your alley, carbon fiber.
Absolutely right. Our final rumor, Keith, and this is a big one. It's a juicy one. The 2025 ZR1 ordering will start in February 2025. I find that interesting because we don't even have pricing yet.
Exactly. Chevrolet, when they first revealed the 2025 Corvette ZR1, it was always accompanied by a disclaimer saying the car will be available in 2025. Yeah, we are waiting on pricing, but this information comes from Chevrolet directly in their latest dealer memo. They put out there that they're going to start the ordering process in February of 2025. So that hopefully means ZR1 production will probably kick off a few weeks later, maybe in March. We still haven't seen the team do a final sign-off on the pre-production cars. We know that they have yet to build any 2025 ZR1 that are, quote, saleable units, meaning that they can test them, and then when they're done, they can put them back into their dealer network as a pre-owned car. Currently, I think there's close to about 50 experimental ZR1s driving around the country at this time. So there's going to be a lot of things happening very quickly. First, they got to go to the saleable units, and then they've got to set up the pricing, and then we'll go into the ordering and all that stuff. And of course, all the other stuff that comes along with it. We haven't seen an order guide yet for the ZR1. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in these next 2 months or so if we are actually going to see ordering in February.
Well, I like it in February. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that everything falls into place and we can actually start doing that in February. Well, buddy, let's take our final break. When we come back, it's the fun side, the lighter side of Corvette up next here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey Corvette lovers, Brian Sarf here from IntelliSense Family Office, formerly known as True Wealth & Company. I want to share a personal story today about my Uncle George. He was a lifelong Corvette lover, one of the first members of the Horseless Carriage Club in St. Louis, and a retiree from General Motors. He worked at Bowling Green Assembly for years, and he planned to rebuild Corvettes during his retirement. But his life was cut short by an untimely death at the age of 64. Uncle George and my aunt were smart, college-educated people, but their investment advisor never looked holistically at their wealth plan and didn't ask critical questions about how assets were titled, who the beneficiaries were, or how to take a pension, or if they had a will or trust. When my Uncle George died, my aunt spent the next 26 months in probate court spending thousands of dollars on attorney fees. All of this could have been avoided with a few hours of financial planning and working with the right advisor. This experience drove me into this business. I knew that there had to be a better way, and I vowed to find it. Today, with IntelliSense, we do 6 key things for our clients. Help you make smart decisions with your money, pay less in taxes, protect your assets, ensure a smooth wealth transfer, magnify charitable gifts, and plan for longevity. Just like maintaining your Corvette, managing your wealth requires attention and expertise. If you're ready to secure your financial future, visit IntelliSense.com or reach out to us today at 913-653-8783. I'm Brian Sarf, and I look forward to helping you protect your dream by learning from the lessons from my family. Investment advisory services offered through IntelliSense Investment Solutions Incorporated, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
VetteFinders.com is the internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25, and every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetteFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetteFinders.com, the internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
And now, back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Make sure you take advantage of the Wheelcraft holiday special going on now through December 31st. Purchase a $200 gift certificate for only $100 and also use the Corvette Today promo code CT50 for an extra $50 off your total purchase at Wheelcraft. Visit wheelcraft.com today or just give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is my pal, Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. If you want a deeper dive into any of the stories we talk about, you can always go to CorvetteBlogger.com. In this final segment, we talk about the fun side, the lighter side of Corvette. Keith, there were 2 brothers that detailed 119 years of Corvette ownership. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, talk about goals, right? This is a video that comes from a YouTube channel called Heart and Horsepower, and it features 2 brothers, William and Glenn Smith, who owned their C1 Corvettes for combined 119 years. So William was first. He purchased his 1960 Corvette in 1962, paid a whopping $2,800 for it. And then his brother Glenn, he had his 1960 Corvette, but then he bought a 62 Corvette in 1970. He paid $1,200 for it.
Wow.
And they still own both of these Corvettes today. The brothers tell some fun stories, and if you're looking for something to watch on YouTube, this would be a really good one. Again, that YouTube channel is called Heart and Horsepower. Really good stuff there.
Nice. Also, we had a really good video about an airbox Corvette. I know what an airbox Corvette is. I bet some of our listeners and viewers don't, though.
Yeah, in fact, I wrote about this specific 1957 Corvette way back in 2007, and I remember going over to the Corvette forum and asking me, please, someone educate me on exactly how these airbox Corvettes are and what they did. The story goes that Zora was working on a race-ready options pack for the 57 Corvette. They already had the fuel injection and the 4-speed manual transmission, but as fuelies do better with cooler air, Zora and his team rigged up what is basically a cold air intake that grabs air moving over the fender. There was a little vent there. That air then was routed to the Rochester fuel injection unit. Only 43 of these Corvettes were built with this option. This black 1957 Corvette in the video was actually the pilot car, meaning it was the very first to have this option. The story of this car is really cool because it was originally raced by a small town Chevy dealer for a year or so before it was sold, and then it went through a couple owners, and eventually it ended up in pieces in the farmer's barn in Ohio.
Ooh.
Some people knew about the car. Eventually, as they were looking over it, I mean, they basically had to climb over it on top of it looking down. A knowledgeable guy believed it was one of these 43 airbox Corvettes. This video that goes into this story, legend of the airbox Corvette, talks about how it was pulled out and restored. They have some pictures of it from when it was in pieces and then finished today. It's a very well-known Corvette today, so you'd probably recognize it. We do know that the car went for sale a couple years ago. They were asking $900,000 for it.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it ever sold or not, but some really great Corvette history here. If you want to learn about the airbox Corvette, we have these stuff on the C7s. Remember when GM came out with their cold air intakes with the Jake logos on them for the ZR1 and the Z6?
Yep.
It's the same concept, to cool the air as it goes into the engine.
Yeah.
Really good stuff there. This was Zora at probably his height of engineering for the cars, and some great Corvette history here.
Very cool. Very cool. Something else very cool. Peter Brock is the man who designed and developed the look of the C2 Corvette. He was on Corvette Today number 30 and year number 1. Peter Brock is still going strong, and he unveiled his new studio concept Corvette at SEMA recently.
Yeah, this is pretty cool because the idea behind the studio concept is it's kind of the way Peter envisioned the car back in the day, while also kind of giving it some updates with some modern design elements. So what he did was they took a donor car, they did all kinds of updates on it. So bigger rear windows, which look really nice on it. All the vents are functional. The 63s had those vents on the hood, but they were just indentations with an overlay on it. They weren't real vents.
Right.
Now this car has fully functional vents all the way around. The cool thing is we're actually hearing that this could actually be turned into a series of resto mods, kind of a studio concept Corvette series designed by Peter Brock. So again, some really strong creds there in the design department. He unveiled this car at SEMA, and you can see the video of the split window being unveiled there. And he's doing the talking. I think it's his wife on the camera. You hear her in the background doing, hey, mention this or mention that. It's kind of a cute video, but when you see the rear windows on this car, that was one of the things that Zora really disliked about the split window, was because he said that split in the middle blocked the view. But if you had bigger windows around it, that then kind of negates that criticism. So it's wondering if they had these bigger windows in the back to start with, had it been that Zora would have said, hey, we're cool with that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Go watch that video and then go listen to Corvette Today number 30. That was the week of November 9th of 2020, and hear the entire Peter Brock story. It's really, really cool. Also, Keith, this is really weird. I'm going to argue with you on this one. IC Cars has a new study that shows the Corvette is the second most dangerous car on the road. What's going on with that?
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. Steve, this might be my most read article for 2024, as we currently have about 250,000 page views on it.
Wow.
People see this, that obviously grabs some eyeballs.
Yeah.
The study comes from IC Cars, and they analyzed the fatality data of model years 2018 through 2022 vehicles, and then they list the Corvette as second behind the Hyundai Venue, whatever that is, you know?
Yeah.
The Porsche 911 was fourth, and the Camaro was 13th on this list. These are really safe cars. Most of them are crash tested, but IC Cars actually says some of these safety features in sports cars like the Corvette and the Porsche are kind of being countered by distracted driving and higher rates of speed, leading to rising accidents and death rates in recent years. I think this is an interesting exercise. The Corvette rank comes from an average of 13.6 deaths per billion vehicle miles, or 4.8 times the overall average. But, you know, I don't know anybody that's driven their car a billion miles, or whether they've even averaged a billion miles in Corvettes anyway.
Right.
Some of this data is kind of being presented in a way to grab some headlines, whether the car is truly dangerous or whether it's just because you feel like Superman in it, you go out and do some stupid stuff. I think that's probably the major cause there. But still, it's an interesting exercise. And if you take the way they did the data and apply it across the spectrum of cars, you can see those cars at CorvetteBlogger, what they are. Again, I'd like to go look up a Hyundai Venue and see what that's all about.
Yeah, you know, I call BS on this. I think it's all clickbait, but you know what? It does grab some headlines, and we're talking about it on Corvette Today.
There you go. And again, this is a reputable company that does do a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But again, I think this one was designed to just grab some headlines. It doesn't really say, you know, the Corvette's a dangerous car just sitting there in front of you.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's move on, buddy. The 2024 hardtop convertible Corvette took home the Strategic Vision 2024 Top Quality Award.
The C8 Corvette just keeps on winning. This was the winner of the premium convertible roadster category. They do the survey based on 77,000 new vehicle buyers during their first 90 days of ownership. And it actually combines both emotional and rational evaluations of quality and vehicle performance. It's done right after people get it. So, of course, you know, when you get a new Corvette, I'm over the moon over mine. Of course, I'm excited. So if somebody was to call me up and say, hey, what do you think about your new car? I'd be like, yeah, it's the best car ever.
That's right.
I think there's a lot of that when it comes to Corvette and these kinds of surveys, because we just love our cars so much. And for most of us, it's not just we went down and said, oh, I'm going to buy a Corvette today and just go pick one off the lot. It's something that we've dreamt about. We've spent night after night on the visualizers and configurators. So there's a bit more of an emotional attachment to when we do buy a car than other models and brands. Great to see owners stepping up and saying, yeah, they do love their Corvettes. And the convertibles, I mean, let's face it, you press a button, 16 seconds later, you're top down or top up. So you can't beat that.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Well, buddy, thanks for being back on Corvette Today. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you after the Thanksgiving break.
Sounds good, Steve. Looking forward to it. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a safe Thanksgiving, and we'll see you back in December.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Ciocca Corvette at CIOCCA Corvette CorvetteToday@corvette.com. E5 Wheels at e5wheels.com. IntelliSense at IntelliSense.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. Racing Sport Concepts at RacingSportConcepts.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.